Hey, what's up, folks? So I'm going to do a little quick one today. This is the first one that I'm doing, first Kirblog I'm doing on Tuesdays, again, as I'm returning to doing 2 of these every week now. Wanted to talk about a new game I've been absolutely addicted to already called Shovel Knight, which I'm sure a lot of you who probably are subscribed to me, I'm sure have already played it, because if you follow me, you're probably into that sort of thing. And by that thing, I mean classic, lovely Nintendo games, because Shovel Knight is one that absolutely fits right up there. It is already a classic as far as I'm concerned. It's amazing. I had the great fortune of sometime last year being part of a special interview sort of podcast-y thing that Gaijin Goomba, who's been on Kirblog a couple times before, was hosting, and it was specifically about Kickstarter and how it is used in raising money for creating video games. And I had I was honored to be invited to be part of that. And in that discussion, I actually met a whole bunch of the folks from YachtClubGames, the company that created this game. So for those of you who don't know, Yacht Club is a company composed of several people who used to work at WayForward, people who created Shantae and lots of other great stuff. And this game is kind of their love letter to 8-bit classic side-scroller games. It's got a lot of elements of Castlevania, DuckTales, Mega Man, a little bit of Mario in there. Just every good game on the NES you probably grew up with, hopefully, or if not, you've played it on the Virtual Console by now, all of them. But yeah, it's very beautifully crafted. It's an incredibly just inspiring kind of game. Like I said before at the beginning, it feels like something just directly out of the time of the NES era. Obviously it's not bound entirely by the limitations of the hardware and everything. It's made with a little bit more polish than probably what was, able to be used at the time. But it's recreated as much like, a real NES sort of game as much as humanly possible, and it plays like one. It feels like one. The only difference, obviously, being if you're playing it on one of the Nintendo systems, you can use the gamepad or the touchscreen or whatever to choose your different weapons. But other than that, it's entirely just it plays like a classic NES game. And I've not had this. It's weird too because I grew up with NES games, but I always found them like extremely difficult, and there were not a ton of them that I was always particularly inclined to want to like replay. But something about this one, it's a combination of just the control is incredibly satisfying, the story and characters are just so likable, the levels are really nice and varied and fun and interesting. All the elements are just kind of in the right place that I'm just like, on my breaks, I'm like, I'm going to play some more Shovel Knight. I like willingly just jumped straight into New Game Plus as soon as I beat the main campaign. It was just that fun. The music has also been what I've been listening to usually while making breakfast these days. It's composed by Jake Kaufman-Vert, who's done lots of really awesome remixes and has done music for lots and lots of other games. Go look him up. And I've been just listening to it non-stop on Bandcamp. Probably have a link to it here somewhere. I think you can link to Bandcamp on YouTube, I believe. So yeah, go check that out. And yeah, pick up this game. I mean, obviously we're not even done with the video yet, but I recommend highly go get this game. Get it on 3DS or Wii U, whatever you can grab it on. I felt like getting on the 3DS just because Mike Lucas was nice enough to buy me 3DS as kind of a going away present for me moving to California, and he lent me his copy of Mario 3D Land, which I beat the ever-loving crap out of and did as much as I could on that. And then yeah, I was like, I'm finally inclined to, I'm going to pick up Shovel Knight, and I've had it, and I've just been totally addicted to it for the last week. So yeah, great stuff. I also had just learned as of like, I think only a few days ago, that they're going to be offering some DLC, I believe they're working on right now, where you can play as 3 of the boss characters. I think it's King Knight, Spectre Knight, and Plague Knight, I believe, are the 3 you can play as. And there's going to be like a gender swap mode and a challenge mode and all this extra stuff, and I am super excited about that. If anything, I mean, I know, I'm sure that they're probably, ways away from being able to work on a new game yet, as they're just off the heels of this, and I know it took them a little while to to get it out. But I'm hoping that I'd love to see more from these guys in general from Yacht Club. I remember on that interview video, if you go back and listen to it, the one I linked earlier, they mentioned something about someday we'd love to do like Super Shovel Knight as a 16-bit game, and then like Shovel Knight 64 as like a 3D game or something. Which I'm so down to play both of those if they were ever to potentially do them. But again, I'm sure ways away. They've got their hands full with just the one game as it is, and all the extra stuff that kind of comes with it. But these guys are all extremely talented. Everybody on board this team, I can tell, put a lot of personality, with emphasis on the personnel of that. It feels that there's just a lot of I really genuinely feel like the passion of the creators behind this game. And maybe it's just because because of the Kickstarter, it's just very visible. We talked about this on the video on the podcast thing. Maybe just because of the personal connection, that they sort of make when you're donating or seeing the progress of something so openly and transparently like that when it's made off of a Kickstarter. Maybe it's just because of that. So maybe there's some bias on my part. It's perfectly possible. But I don't know. Just something about the whole style of this game. It just feels like very personal and very fun, and it has a very clear vision of the director and and the whole crew that helped put it together. I'm sure there's already I haven't checked Tumblr yet, but I've seen a few pieces of fan art floating around. I'm sure that there are several characters who probably already have plenty of that to go around. So maybe I should do some myself. In fact, I'll probably be doing that. For this video, I'm sure I'll be drawing Kirb as a knight or something. And now that I've said that, now I have to do that. So look forward to Kirb Knight or whatever you're going to see on this image here. It's funny. I also remember a few years ago now when Mega Man 9 was coming out. I remember there were a lot of comments from different places that were more kind of there were a bunch of people kind of saying, I hope that this is kind of the beginning of a new trend of companies doing old school style 8-bit versions of other game franchises and things. I hope that we get more like this. And at the time I was like, whatever. I'm just excited about the fact that we have a Mega Man 9, etc. And then we had 10, and I think there were a couple other examples. Obviously we had Rayman Origins and some stuff like that. And I don't know. It's funny because now I think back to that, and I wouldn't necessarily say that we've gotten so much that, I guess, but I think it's interesting that we have more games like this. I've often said I really genuinely feel like indie games are kind of the future of where gaming is headed and everything. And a few people I've seen have agreed. And having games like Shovel Knight that feel very old school and have that same level of really amazing polish and quality and heart to it, but with a modern sensibility and also with kind of a humble sensibility, because they're not having millions and millions of dollars put behind making them or whatever. It's really empowering and cool to see that. Because I've often said I would love to do a game myself someday, and I've often kind of looked into the possibility of doing that, but I'm still in the process of learning a lot of things. And I will say I learned a lot from the Yacht Club guys on that interview. So big shout out and thank you to Gaijin Goomba for allowing me to be part of that, because I feel like a lot of the stuff that they said really stuck with me. And there's been a few people like that who've definitely taught me a lot. But on a more simple basis, in the meantime, go play Shovel Knight. Go pick it up on the 3DS eShop or the Wii U Virtual Console or whatever you can get. Go check it out. It's an amazing game. If you've already played it, or if you're interested in playing it or anything, leave a comment. Tell me all about it. I'd love to hear your experience. Who's your favorite boss? What's your favorite level? What was your favorite thing to do? For me personally, I like Frost Knight. Polar Knight. Freudian slip. Polar Knight is my favorite because he seems like a good guy, and because he has ice powers. Because that's totally a reason, If you got other ideas for future Kirblog topics or anything, leave a comment about that. You can also hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, anything you feel like. And I don't have anything really to plug at the end here anymore because we're, as I mentioned in the last couple Kirblogs, we're kind of out of previous content like that. So just hope you enjoy, and hope you enjoyed the 2 Kirblogs a week now, that I'll be doing that for a little while. And yeah, I'll see you on this upcoming Saturday. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.